Well, President Trump is planning to take the stand again in his civil fraud trial.
Yeah, that's the $250 million case in New York City for the state, where prosecutors claim the Trump organization overvalued real estate properties. His announcement coming a day after his son Eric was supposed to take the stand. However, the defense says other witnesses already covered what he was going to say. Dre Clark live in New York with an update for us. Dre?
Good morning, guys. Donald Trump is expected to be back in the courtroom today as he prepares to testify for a second time in just a few days from now. The trial was not in session yesterday after Eric Trump, Mr. Trump's son, was told by his father not to testify here. Eric Trump was supposed to be the only person to take the witness stand yesterday, but Mr. Trump's legal team letting the judge know that his testimony wasn't necessary because, in their opinion, he has already provided the court with enough sufficient evidence. Meanwhile, the former president indicating that he plans to take the stand on Monday, saying on Truth Social, quoting here, "I will be testifying on Monday in this shameful no jury allowed trial." Now, it will be the second time Mr. Trump has taken the stand at his civil fraud trial. Last month, after he was called to testify by the New York State Attorney General, Mr. Trump clashed with the judge repeatedly, calling the case a scam and a waste of taxpayers' money. The judge implored Mr. Trump's legal team to keep him under control and told Mr. Trump his trial was not a political rally. Meanwhile, New York State Attorney General Letitia James is suing the former president and his two sons, Don Jr. and Eric, for fraud, claiming they overvalue some of their real estate assets and lied about Mr. Trump's net worth to obtain multi-million-dollar bank loans. Judge Arthur Engoron has already ruled in part that he believes the Trumps committed fraud. The Attorney General wants the judge to make the Trumps pay a $250 million fine and bar them from doing business in the state of New York. The trial is now in its second month, and Mr. Trump is expected to be the last witness before his defense team will rest their case. Now, Mr. Trump is right now operating under a gag order that was imposed weeks ago. He is not allowed publicly, at least, to say anything negative about the judge's clerk or any other judge's courtroom staff. Mr. Trump's attorneys have appealed that gag order, saying that the former president should have a right to speak his mind if he does believe he's not getting a fair trial. Mr. Trump's attorneys on Monday sought to have his testimony postponed on Monday, but Judge Engoron making it very clear that was not going to happen. In fact, telling the judges, absolutely not, no way, no how, it's a non-starter. So as it stands right now, we're expecting the former president to be back in the courtroom today, and then on Monday, he will be taking the witness stand, again, testifying in his own defense. Adrienne.
All right, Dre, thank you again. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.